morning, gang. It's my. Go grab your Bible. Okay, grab your Bible. Turn to the book of Ruth. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. It is a full book dedicated to the lady that we are going to be talking about today. So, the book of Ruth. There's only 2 books in the Bible that are named after women, Ruth and Esther, and Ruth is one of them. So we're going to start with her story today. Just you, me, and Mame with us today. I'm in my library at home. All right, so Ruth, chapter 1. We're going to read and talk through the whole little bit. Because we're only going to get part way through this book because the next woman is in this book as well. So we're going to start off with Ruth chapter 1. Are you there? I hope so. Ruth chapter 1, we're going to read a little bit. Ready? Ruth chapter 1, verse 1. It says, "Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled." Remember we talked about the judges? There was one that was female by the name of Deborah. I hope you remembered that. There was a famine in the land. Okay, so there was no food to eat, which was very, very scary. They couldn't go to a Walmart or grocery store. There was no food because there had been no rain. So no crops to grow. You couldn't feed the animals, so no animals to eat. It was a famine, and it was very, very scary. And there are still countries today that go through famines. So there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judea. Do you know about that city? Where Jesus was born. He went to sojourn, means he went to live, in the country of Moab. He and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech. Elimelech, you might want to remember that. And the name of his wife was Naomi, or in Hungarian, it is Noemi. Naomi is how we pronounce it. And the name of his 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judea. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. So they lived in the land of Moab because there was a famine in their own land. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. So the first thing we find out about Naomi is that she is the wife of Elimelech. She is the wife of Elimelech. It's the first thing we find out about her. And she had 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion. Mahlon and Chilion. And her husband died. And here she is with just her 2 sons. Now, we don't know how old the sons were, but probably, I'm thinking probably teenagers. And they took, teenagers, maybe a little bit older, because in the next verse it says, "And they took them wives of the women of Moab. And the name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other was Ruth." She's going to be the next lady we talk about. "And they dwelled there about 10 years. So they stayed in Moab for about 10 years. All right? So you get the story. There's Elimelech, his wife Naomi, their 2 sons. Elimelech dies and leaves Naomi with her 2 sons. And back then, that was a real horrible thing. It is now to have a widow lady. It's hard. But back then, it was really hard because you needed to have a husband or you had no say in life. You were just not that important. And a lot of times you didn't get taken care of. So there's this woman, Naomi, and her 2 sons, and they lived there for 10 years, and the boys found wives. Okay, so the 5 of them are living there for 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. Now, we're not told how these 3 guys died, Elimelech and his 2 sons, but all 3 of them died. And now there are 3 widows. Really hard, because now there were no men at all in their household. It was just the 3 ladies. And the woman was left with her 2 sons and let's see. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. So all 3 of the men in her life died. Then she arose with her daughter-in-laws, that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. So the famine was over. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughter-in-laws with her. And they went on their way to return unto the land of Judah. So Bethlehem, Judah, now was out of famine. So she thought, let's go home. That's what she thought. There's bread there. Let's go home. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughter-in-laws, go, return each to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you, as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. Her 2 daughter-in-laws had been blessings to her. They had helped her out. That they had doubtless helped her with the housework and with doing things that would raise money so that they could live there. And the 3 of them had lived well together, but Naomi said, it's time for you to go back to your own homes. Maybe you'll find a husband there, because it will be, your own family, and they'll look out for you. They'll take care of you. And so she says to go on back. And verse 9, it says, and the Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. And then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. They loved her. And I find this really special, because you see, God's blessed me with 2 daughter-in-laws, and I loved them. And if something were ever happened to them, I would just be heartbroken. But Naomi wanted the best for her 2 daughter-in-laws, so she sent them home. But they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. So Naomi had doubtless taught them about the God of Bethlehem. See, Moabites were not God-fearing people. This was not a land that God blessed. And yet that's where Naomi ended up with her husband. And so I'm sure she had taught her daughter-in-laws about the God of Bethlehem, the God of Judah. And they said, look, we should go with you. And then Naomi goes on and she says, I'm too old to give you more husbands. I don't have any more sons for you to marry. You need to go and find husbands. So we're going to pick it up in verse 13. Would ye tarry for them? She's talking about two more boys if she was to have children till they were grown. Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. She said, God hasn't blessed me. He's taken away my husband and my boys, and I don't want that to be on you. I want you to go and find joy, find husbands of your own. In verse 14 it says, and they lifted up their voice and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. Ruth said, oh, I just can't leave you. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people. So apparently Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye and went back to her people in Moab. But Ruth stayed. It says, thy sister-in-law is gone back under her people and under her gods. So she didn't believe in the God that Naomi had been telling her about. Return now after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said unto her, entreat me not to leave thee. And then it goes down into verse 18. It says, when she saw that she, Ruth, was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking with her. And the 2 of them came and went to Bethlehem. So she stopped trying to convince her, go home to your own mama. And she thought, okay, she's going to come with me. So this is the introduction to Naomi, and also a little bit to Ruth. Very special women in the Bible. Women that are actually in the lineage of Jesus Christ. Naomi was from Bethlehem of Judah, which is really special. And she was such a wonderful woman that her daughter-in-laws loved her. That doesn't happen every day. And so she's a very special woman. But you might want to remember how we found her. What was the first thing that the Bible said about her? I don't know. You might just want to remember that. Anyhow, she's a fantastic woman, and we're going to be talking more about her when we talk about Ruth the next time we get together. I love you. I hope you're going to have a great day today. Bye-bye.